I spent a lot of money on comedy in South Africa.
Yeah.
And then I stopped. Or I had spent too much money or almost all of my money. So the things I used to do with my own money, no one is doing anymore. Everyone is looking after themselves or after their own careers. I was the guy that
I see that. In fact, I see that when you talk
everyone in and do for everyone, right? So now the people that can do for themselves are doing for themselves. So now there's no more growth to the extent that there was when I used to do this thing.
Perseverance sustains your talent. One of the most important qualities of success, yet underrated, is perseverance. Without it, success is almost impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm yet to meet a successful person without this virtue. Perseverance is not a matter of talent. Perseverance is not an issue of time. It is about finishing what you are starting. Because talent provides hope for accomplishment, but it is perseverance that guarantees it. Perseverance means succeeding because you are determined to, not because you are destined to. Perseverance is recognizing that life is not a long race, but many short ones in succession, because it has a compounding effect in our lives. In fact, perseverance means stopping, not because you are tired, but because the task is done and delivered with distinction. Ladies and gentlemen, it's such a great honor and a great privilege that I get to sit with one of the amazing human beings I followed almost all my awaking and away life, a legend in the arts, but in particular in comedy. David Gau is on the show today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me to be here.
Such a great honor, man. I'm having chills.
Yeah.
I'm actually drinking coffee. It's not so often that I do it.
Oh, did you end up having coffee? Because
yes.
You changed to tea or something?
No. It's coffee.
Yeah.
Because I want to calm the nerves. But thank you very much for coming to the show.
No, my pleasure, brother. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah. I'm opening the show talking about perseverance.
Yeah.
You've been in the game for almost 30 years, 3 decades.
26 years, will be 27 in October.
And do you still have the hunger to go?
I feel like I'm just starting out. I feel like I'm restarting from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Many people, I'm not sure if it's factual, they recognize you as the first black stand-up comedian.
Yeah. So I think, when I started out, I mean, those are all the stories that were written about me.
Yeah.
Commercially, and maybe the success and a bit of fame, you could say that.
Yeah.
And then I always tell people, if you're ever going to compare me and Kgoroeadira, our first stand-up comedy gig, we were on a lecture desk at UCT, standing on lecture desks, performing for other students, one of the societies. Someone said, maybe these guys are funny, let's ask them to say something or do something. So I'll always say that Kgoroeadira is the only person you can ever compare me to. And then we met Thabang. He was also studying at UCT. When he found out about us, he started contacting us, and then that was 98, October 98. And then I moved to Joburg in 2000, and then I met Ronnie Mudimula. Yeah, so then there was the time, the 4 of us were the only black comedians in the country.
Yeah.
But a bit of my success and being on TV and so on, I was still living in Res, and there was a night I went for an interview at Cape at 6. Mark Lottering was the host. And then I had to run back to Res so I can watch myself on top billing at 7. So I was on TV twice on that one day.
Yeah.
I was still living in Res.
Doing comedy.
That's when I started doing stand-up.
Yeah.
I was finishing my degree at the University of Cape Town, drama performance diploma.
27 years now, going for 27 years. Are you comfortable when people describe you as a comedian at this stage of your life? I know people evolve.
So that always comes first. My profile says I'm a stand-up comedian, filmmaker, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
and I've added husband and father.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important to me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
But it's all really storytelling if you think about it. So there's things in stand-up comedy you actually want to visualize. So that's where the Pure Munati show came from.
Yeah.
The Pure Munati show idea even came before we knew we'd end up being stand-up comedians. But we knew we wanted to make people laugh. We wanted to tell stories. We wanted to make movies before we even knew we'd be stand-up
Comedians. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Kagiso wanted to make films.
Yeah.
But it's all storytelling at the end. I think Kagiso's profile says he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
That's all it says.
Yeah.
But for me, everything came from having started doing stand-up comedy. Yeah.
I'm asking this intentionally because I know people evolve like me.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started, we were called motivational speakers.
Yeah.
And I hate the term now, but I'm kind to understand the description of the industry. You know, that's how people would be classified.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking if
I'm a
you
stand-up
still
comedian anytime, any day, anywhere in the world. And then everything else followed.
So much longevity in the business, Brad David, is not easy.
Yeah.
So many people came and fell by the wayside, like by Kgoroeadira along the way, but also being there and maintaining that thing.
Yeah.
What does it take?
Well, obviously perseverance, as you said.
Yeah.
But the more you grow, the more I grew. So the more I grew, the more I put money or my own resources back into David Cow and essentially in the industry or in other comedians, right?
Yeah.
So from then, having started, you're managed, you have a manager, you have a partner or whatever, then I also became a producer. So if you think I started 98, from 2000 up to 2003, I did a show called Comedy Blackout before Black Song.
Yeah.
So there was another show where I was trying to do this thing of I'm a black comedian, there's no black audience. I want to do a show for black people. So about 3 years we did a show, 4 of us, me, Kagiso. The lineup will be Kagiso, Tsepo Mokhale, myself, Ronnie Mudimola, I think Riyad Musa at some stage, and then 3 international comedians, black comedians.
Yeah.
2 weeks in the theater, market theater, blah, 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 every year for 3 years. Then Black Songly started 2004, where one night, the first night was 1,000 people, Nelson Mandela Theater at the Joburg Theater. 2005, more than 4,000 people showed up at the Sandton Convention Center. And Black Songly is now in its 21st year. So,
wow.
21st October this year, we'll probably do a big show and celebrate the 21 years of Black Songly comedy. Yeah. But then I was funding and putting my money in all these things. So I guess your question about longevity.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that I was doing or that kept me there, I spent most of my money in the industry or back into David Kau or then essentially in other comedians.
Yeah.
So all the movies I directed at Mnet, Mzansi Magic, probably close to 30 over 5 to 10 years or 8 years. If their budget was this much, I put in more of my money to make the budget this much.
Yeah.
When the budget became this, I put more of my money and resources where I started making movies and taking the talent, the comedy talent, and putting them in there as well. I own the modeling agency as well with Pel Tusi and Zinga Kunta at a production. I still have a production company. But I was funding all these things. Business model-wise, terrible decision. Learned a lot from it. I wasn't making money back, but I don't regret anything about making those decisions because that's why at any given time, maybe every 48 to 76 hours, one of my movies is probably playing on Lokshin Bioscope or somewhere on Multi-Choice. Right?
Every time it plays, are you making money?
No, the contracts we signed are similar to those SABC back in the days. But essentially, whoever pays for it owns it. So that's really most broadcasting models.
Yeah.
It's not different, even if you're on Netflix. If they say to you, this is what we're paying and make this thing, they own the thing. If that's but the difference is, I knew what I was doing and I agreed to walk into that. So I can't now come and start crying sheep and act like I wasn't there. I signed this contract or I made these decisions, right?
Yeah.
So I don't own some I negotiated digital rights back then. So I guess maybe then no one really saw the digital growth coming, and that's why Taxi Ride is on YouTube. It's almost on 2 million views on YouTube and one or two other movies. So at the time, literally, I still have some of the DVDs. We had printed DVDs from Taxi Ride. So I had those rights where I could at least sell DVDs at the time, because DVDs were
the thing.
Then I put it on YouTube as well. So, but I knew exactly what I was doing. Hence, Skumbas, Fisonene, Chris Mapani, Tapelo, Shampunizer, they were made by Taxi Ride, in terms of them coming to a national audience or a TV audience. And then all the other movies that followed with different comedians.
Mari, you have pathed a way and opened the path for a lot of comedians, particularly the black ones. I mean, traditionally we knew white people, but the black market of comedians, you've opened a path for a lot of them. And we started the blacks only, the vernacular, because a lot of comedians now, they wanted to do feel like English. Not sure if they go vernac, they will make it. There'll be a market for that. But we've seen that changing over the years.
So I think that for me, then that was the purpose of Blacks Only. For any comedian to perform in whatever language they choose, including English, or if they then want to go and walk into their Zulu or Ndebele, Sepedi, they can. So then I still hold the show together, my majority in English, or 99% and 95% in English, so that anyone can come to the show and still enjoy themselves, even if they don't understand one act that's speaking Zulu or one act that's speaking whatever language that they choose to. But you can still come and enjoy the show. So that's important. And then obviously for work and like our everyday lives, we all have to speak English. We have to understand English. And of course, to be then known in the rest of the world or even the African continent as well, you're going to need English. Right? So then that's a choice one has to make themselves as a comedian. A lot of corporate gigs, you kind of have to, you know,
multicultural,
the English side of things. But that's also changed a bit, but not that much. So non-Vernac speaking booking agent or someone at some company, they might not know you if you're just strictly doing Vernac. But the audience and the reflection of the country, the majority of people speak Vernac languages, even if they understand English. That's why then some of these vernacular comedians have started filling up venues on their own, without necessarily having to feel like they have to speak English or any other language other than the languages where they come from. So that's a natural growth for comedy in this country. It's normal. But then you as the comedian now have to choose your market. Do I only want to perform in my mother tongue, or do I want everyone to come and watch me? Or do I care about the Indian, colored, white audience out there? That's just the choice everyone has to make for themselves.
I've never heard you Udiraka Vernac.
So I do a bit of Sotho. But here and there I throw in some Sotho, depending on where I am in the country. Makufe in Bloemfontein. Kibasuthu, Lesotho. I've done lots of shows there. But I do majorly perform in English, you know, just to accommodate everyone. And also because the content works that way. So if there's something I need to say in Vernac for it to work, I say it in Vernac. And then here and there I'll play with the translation, but it's also part of the joke. I'll say something in English and then I'll translate to another language or Vernac. But then for me, it's part of the joke. It's not a direct translation. Yeah, because most jokes also, you can't direct translate jokes. It's very hard to find
do that.
Jokes that work that way.
It seems like comedy in South Africa has gone down. I'm choosing words carefully. But honestly, compared to 10 years back, 15 years back, it seems like it has gone down. What are your thoughts?
So I don't want to agree with you, but I'll tell you, I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. I spend a lot of money on comedy in South Africa. And then I stopped. Or I had spent too much money or almost all of my money. So the things I used to do with my own money, no one is doing anymore. Everyone is looking after themselves or after their own careers. I was the guy that
I see that. In fact, I see that when you talk
everyone in and do for everyone, right? So now the people that can do for themselves are doing for themselves. So now there's no more growth to the extent that there was when I used to do these things.
And there's
and
no
I
more
speak
impact.
also to both government or sponsors. Those people are not spending money in comedy. There's one or two things or events that happen, one or two brands that will do something that they want to do for their own brands. So that's where maybe you think comedy used to be this, but now you don't really see what's happening. There's a show we did with Tolas Mo called Amakrotman Ye Comedy, which is then the older guys, myself, Ronnie Mdimula and Tosh in the lineup, Chris Forrest, Kidibone Mlautsi. And that show for me showed me this is South African gold, right? The years that you've been in broadcasting for 15 years, the 26 years I've been in comedy, Chris Forrest, 25, 26, Ronnie Mdimula, 26, 27, all that, I think Tosh is heading for 20 as well. Those guys, when I watched our recent show or lineup, literally everyone on stage has been performing for maybe minimum 15 years to 25, 26 years, right? And you've got 4 or 5 of those guys on one lineup. So you got more than 100 years of comedy experience in this show. Then today you've got guys that started last year, 2 years ago, maybe during COVID or after, maybe guys that started just over 5 years ago. And then they trying to do shows that took us 10 years to do or 15, which is also fine. But then you can tell, the experience shows.
Brother David, let's be honest. Comedy now, I think now I'm saying it with confidence. It has gone down over the years. And you've made me understand why I actually believe it has gone down. You used to do shows. It was not just about you. You used to
I spent the majority of my life doing for
putting together productions, comedy. But now that you're no longer doing it, people are going individual. The impact your comedy in the country has now lessened.
It's lessened because of that. So if you think of, let's do a simple example of BEE, right? We can put BEE or business and black business specifically in South Africa in the same category. The big deals came with BEE, and the people that became faces of BEE benefited. Most of them are billionaires. Then there was the broad-based, let's do for everyone. And not everyone or many people benefited because the bigger guys, the back in the days guys, the big billionaire guys are not investing in young up-and-coming entrepreneurs. They're not. They've closed themselves in their gates. They are happy where they are and they don't want to be disturbed.
They close the gate.
They don't want to disturb. So then you can say then the guys who are now successful in the industry, and both television broadcasting as well, because that goes hand in hand, and have decided, hey, we're only going to work with CMX. So now we must watch CMX do 100 things or 100 productions, right? But there's other production companies that may even have better ideas than you. But no one is saying, no, let's take 10 production companies. Instead of one getting 100, let's give 10 jobs. Fine, if you want to give the one, you have your business reasons. So people prioritize themselves, prioritize their own businesses and their own, I guess, in a way, what they want out of the industry. So some people just want money, and that's what they're getting, and they're happy doing that.
You have said something powerful, brother. Now, let's talk about generations. Your generation as artists, you know, Machitamanzo Babala, Bokagiso, and all other Tigrotman. Those were the faces of comedy, to be honest, in South Africa. Young generation came, and I think it's precisely because of what you say.
So the other thing that obviously changed a lot of things is social media. So I had a huge chunk of my career, maybe 12, 13 years without social media. So you never saw, you never knew when I was on private jets.
Yes, 100%.
Didn't know.
I only saw you when we were on stage.
You saw
when
me
we were
on
on
stage,
the screen.
saw me-
Yeah.
You have no idea what I was doing when I was not on stage. So my focus has always been on when I'm on stage and what I'm doing as a performer, as a comedian, as a filmmaker. It was never I was on a jet and that's why people like me, or I was wearing nice clothes and posting them, or I had nice cars, nice houses, and now that's why I have this following and that's why people like me. My career, it always came first, or the work that I do and my purpose was always prioritized. So now you've got people that, hey, there's this person that you must see because we saw them doing this and this and this. And then comes time to now produce the work and perform. And then you're like, actually, there's not much there, you know? It's just, with nice clothes, there's nice this, there's nice that. So social media has then made this hype. And same with motivational speakers, same with business guys.
Yeah.
It's people that are hyped
Yes.
as
With
business people or motivation. But when it comes down to the core of actually what do you do?
Yes.
Or is that it? Is that the same person with so many followers and they're doing this and they're traveling in this and they drive this? But actually there's nothing here. So that's also contributed because it's easy to become famous. It's easy to become known, right? I said I wasn't going to use my hands, but but anyway, so now we're stuck with this.
Yeah.
There are all these people. This one is supposed to be doing this. He's this. But they're actually really known for being famous. Most people, they're not.
That's powerful, brother. So a lot of attention is given to the hype.
There's too much hype.
More than the work itself. I mean, I agree with you.
Easy to become.
DJs, it's about how good you look, you know, young, you know, how
even dress. Most of them don't dress, and I don't want to make it a male or female thing, but there's a lot of DJs.
So it's no longer really
don't dress or dress very little.
Yeah, about DJing.
That's where their following comes from,
and that's where they get the bookings because of that.
Course. So the presentation and the packaging precedes the actual work.
Would you say
there's few that can back it up?
Yeah.
There's some that can back it up, but the majority, everyone has a covering and packaging. But what you are buying, so it's typically buying all these fancy bags and labels that people buy. The packaging that goes in those bags, or receiving one of those things from the store, you know, then you get to the bag. The difference here is with most careers now and talent, the packaging does not match the content.
Yeah. Would you say comedy is one of the most disrespected craft?
Of course. In South Africa it is.
Explain.
We live in a parallel world. So going back again to, we had some success, we did our own thing, we never asked anyone for help.
Yeah.
And no one came. No one bothered. So sponsors or corporates or if you are popular, people know you, a corporate can book you for a corporate gig or whatever. That's an individual thing. They don't do group bookings, or they don't say bring 10 comedians. It's either they want David Gao, or they want Pop Pops, or they want Skumba, or they want, that's corporates, you know, that's business. And that's how most of us make money. But they're not saying, no, guys, let's put R1 million or 100,000 in a black comedy show and just sponsor the show. There's some unknown talent we don't know, but we know the host. Let's see him, who is bringing this time. Bring that package to the community. Community can buy tickets. Okay, no, there's something here. We'll be back. We'll come back again. The sponsor comes back again and gives a bit more money, right? That's one. And then obviously category-wise, even when you went into government, maybe now in the last year or two, I don't know, but when you went into government, there was no, hey, proposals, let's do this. There's either film, acting, music, sports, There was never places where there was a career comedy option on ticking boxes. What are you submitting funding for? Only maybe now in the last year or two.
Yeah.
Right? Where some government officials or maybe ministers are now starting to recognize comedy as a whatever or category, or so in that light, yes, you could say nobody really paid attention, but at the same time, the audience and the country was there. So all you can do is just buy a ticket to my show. You can't sponsor the show. You can't, allocate me government funding or whatever. But the audience, for me, that's why every single show I always thank the audience and thank people for buying their tickets and coming to the shows, because that's how we make a living.
You wrote a tweet.
Yeah.
Why is it?
Yeah.
You wrote a tweet, showed it to the minister, to the now Minister of Arts, Sports and Culture, where you were expressing strong sentiments. And about the industry. It was
about the industry, not
it's not for you. 100%. Because the minister responded and say, it can't be you, David. You know how much I support you and the work you've done. And you went back and clarified and said, no, I'm speaking for everyone else. For everyone else.
No, Gayton, Minister Gayton, I know him as Gayton for many years. Almost all my shows, minimum 20 tickets. Almost every single blacks only comedy show. Even as recent as 2019, because I didn't do 2020, I didn't do 2021. I'm planning a big show, and I'm also looking for big sponsors to go with it. But literally as recent as my last show. So, the basic tweet. So there were two things that happened with the tweet. And then one thing people missed was that every Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture by then had become known for, you don't hear from them. When there's a funeral in the industry, they're there, right? That was the first joke where I said, Minister, do one of the comedians have to die before we can get to see you or meet with you? I'm talking about the industry. So that was a joke on how, literally, Minister Natim Tetwa, the joke was Minister of Condolences. For years, it was a running joke. So that was one joke that went over a lot of people's heads. And then obviously the insinuation that he doesn't support comedy, which then his response made sense. But Dave, I just booked you for our thing. And also I come to your shows, and I said, no, I appreciate that a lot, but I'm not speaking about myself. Then I went and I said, okay, I'm sorry, because you're dealing again with social media. So everyone starts saying, hey, you are entitled, hey,
opportunistic.
Hey, you can't. And then obviously the minister is also dealing with a lot of other people that seem entitled, and a lot of them might be known or celebrities. Then you get put into that category. But for me, it was never about myself.
But are you happy with how the conversation ended, particularly between you and the minister, Leshapo, and...
No, we're fine. No,
he understood and the public understood.
No, the minister is more a friend than he is a minister to me. I'm trying to see how I can support him as a minister, and I obviously want him to pay attention to what we do. But the one of the reasons I got was that comedians are also not unionized. So again, going back to, we all did our own things. I was the funder to a lot of people for a long time. So there was no comedy union. There's never been. So then for government to recognize you, you have to be, we are the actors union of what, we are the SAFA, we are the boxing SA, we are gymnastics SA. So there's no comedy SA voice that officially for the minister in his official capacity to engage us.
To engage him.
So we're just individuals.
When I speak about disrespect for the craft, comedy, you referred to the corporate or the market. Ne? Let's talk about how people cheaply think, okay, let's say the market in South Africa. When people don't see a need why they should buy tickets for a comedy, it's still a site. Still a site. Sometimes you charge this much and say, man, David. Just for making few jokes. So generally, feel like the disrespect. But also, even those who want to get in the business of comedy, they think because where we can't even differentiate between, are you funny, are you charismatic, or can you please comment on that?
So it's more knowledge. So it's just people who are not doing their own research. So there's people that will pay for comedy and they know what value they're getting. And then there's corporates that know this comedian costs this much, that one costs this much. That's the rate that these guys are at. You know, we all have our rates, but there's more or less what you are working with.
Yeah.
And then you've got people that have no idea, so they need to be taught, or they are calling you for the first time, and they go, "Hi, I want you as a comedian at my wedding." Some people think you charge 700 rand. Some people, all they have is 10,000 rand. Whether you charge 100,000 or 50,000 is neither here nor there. It's just that they didn't know. So you've got those people. Then you've got people that come to a Black Songli or one Black Songli and see 2,000 or 3,000 people, or the Dome where we had almost 10,000 people in 2018. And then they leave and they think, I'm going to go and do a comedy show as well. Then
That's
they
like
call me
motivational
to
speakers.
perform or try to book me and Skumba and whoever. And then you tell them the fee, and then it's awkward, or there's a problem. Then they come to you because they saw you make one joke when you were doing motivational speaking somewhere, and they think, no, but I can get Sam X. I don't need David Carr. I'll get David Carr, and then I'll get Sam X and two other people. And then they realized, actually, this thing is not a joke. We may tell jokes, but the business behind it is there's no jokes there, right? So you have people who don't know, and then you have people that are just chance takers. You know, they're there in a lot of industries, but a lot of people don't know. So it's a simple thing of people coming to your show and they want to record you. They don't understand. You can't record my material and post it in a public place. Number one, you are taking it out of context. So we're going back to what I said to the minister on a public platform. Or similarly, I could have told him the same thing personally as a joke, and it would not have had the same reaction that it had publicly. So equally, when I start shows, I tell people, guys, please don't record. I can't sell this joke or material or show once it's been on any other public platform. So once my material is seen on a YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, no one is going to pay you
for it,
for that material. So no SABC or Netflix or Amazon or whoever is going to buy that material. Number two, I need to tell that material in Joburg, Cape Town, Durban, Canada, Montreal, just for that. Yes, because there are people that must still pay me to see that material. Right? That's how I make money. So you're taking money out of my my children's mouths when you do that. But then once you say to the audience, guys, please don't record. This is the reasons. People are happy to put their phones away. Then you've got people again that are still arrogant, and they come. They're not even listening. They're just holding their phone, going live on their Facebook. They're not
present in that moment.
And they're not really even engaging. And my whole point is that we are here. You paid
to come and enjoy
We are both live.
Yes.
Put away your phone, enjoy the show.
You are right. I see that as a speaker myself, where people record. And, you know, before I didn't mind. But now, out of context is a problem.
So out of context is the biggest problem before we even get to the other things I mentioned. Out of context means there's four of us in this room. I make a joke about the cameraman's sneaker. Right? When you record me and you send it out to people that are not in this room, those people don't know if he made fun of me or my head before that. And then they start going in on you. Hey, how could you? How? So the out of context is very, very important because the jokes are for the people in that room at that time. That's why there's a difference when I say I'm recording a special or I'm recording a DVD or I'm recording a show that's going to go out on wherever or whatever broadcasting platform. I know now this is a David Cow show that's going out to the public that it will come with certain risks. So before SABC broadcasts it or whoever, then they must now deal with the Broadcast Complaints Commission. That someone might complain that David told a joke about the disabled person. But in the room, the disabled person was there and they were laughing at the same joke. Right? But then you guys have taken this thing out of context. But when I choose to then, okay, I'm putting this out in public, then that means I'm also ready for the Disability South Africa organization or whoever that's going to call and say, no, but you made fun. Then I have to stand and go, yes, I made that joke and I'll do it again. And that's me. That's my response. You do what you have to do.
There are 2 points I want us to rush to, but before that, what irritates you about people knowing that you are a comedian? that irritation, if that people expect from you, the stigma that comes with being a comedian. I'll tell you mine. It's when ke kopana about, hey, Samex, what is word of the day?
Yeah.
That's
a compliment.
Things like that.
That's a compliment. So that's a personality thing.
Yes.
The whole Scott Mapuma thing that's going on now. When I leave my house, I know that to some people, I'm David Gao. They've seen me in movies. They've seen me in commercials back then. They've seen me on stage. They've seen me on stand-up. And they buy tickets to my show. That's the difference.
Yes.
As opposed to someone on social media who says you're not funny, but they've never ever even been to a stand-up comedy show. I don't entertain those people.
Yeah.
But there are people that when I get to a security gate and security guards, or you get to a mall, or I go home and I'm at the garage putting petrol, I know there are people that love David Gao.
Yeah.
And I try and accommodate them. There are people that are sometimes drunk, pushy. You are in the toilet, what Shapa 6'9", and the guy next to you is, hey, hater, show, hey man, tell me a joke, Wabon.
Yeah.
Again, my brother, hey, can I just use the toilet?
Yeah.
You can tell this person has been drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there are those people, tell me a joke. Then I explain again. It doesn't work like that. I don't even tell jokes. I tell stories.
Yeah.
I make people laugh.
Yeah.
There's a difference between making people laugh and telling a joke. Anyone can tell a joke. So that's not what I do.
Yeah.
Then some people you play. If someone comes to me and says, tell me a joke, I just go, and then get some move on. I move on. Because I understand that they don't understand.
All right. The Scott Mapumula. King Mapumula. Mapuma, I'm sorry. I apologize. I just saw the video going. Scots, ne?
Yeah.
Or Scots, yeah. Arabica Scots Mapuma. Where do we draw the balance? Yes, from both sides. Is there a need to educate as well? Yes, his outburst, probably he didn't handle it right. He apologized. In fact, he says that.
Yeah.
But is there an education as well to the audience? How do we meet each other halfway?
You can't really educate people. People are different. The people that started watching me 27 years, 26 years ago, there are kids that are starting to come to my show today. Those are totally different audiences. Everyone, everywhere you go now, is holding a phone. Doesn't matter what you do. Why is David Gao peeing on the side of the road? I'm going to record it. Why does it look like he's arguing with his wife? I'm going to record it. So the world has changed to a huge extent, right? But if I'm Scots and I don't want people to bother me in the mall, then I'll hire bodyguards that will surround me, and I'll walk around in the mall and I'll ignore everyone who's trying to get my attention. My bodyguards will stop them and then I'll do what I want to do in the mall. Or I will stay home because I don't bother by the public.
Wow.
You understand?
No, 100%.
So there's measures you can put in place. Then no one is going to go, no, but I wanted to take a picture. He said to me, I must footsack, and he's tired because you didn't really have contact with that person. But that's why then celebrities at a certain level.
Exactly. You
can't
see them. Yeah,
true. You can't see them. You can't get close to them. That you can't say, but I asked him for a picture and he refused.
So basically it's your work. It's the work that you need to put in yourself. The systems that you put.
It's the systems that you need to put in for yourself as an entertainer or an individual. And that's a personality thing. Yeah. Right? My kids know to expect someone might stop us and ask for a picture. My older son is 16. He understands. The 7-year-old still a bit confused. The 13-year-old understands. My wife understands. So again, we go into a movie premiere. My wife doesn't want to walk the red carpet. She walks behind it or on the other side. She allows me to.
Yeah, because she
one
understands.
Or two photographers known us over the years might say, no, can we have one with your wife? Blah, blah, blah. But if she doesn't want to, she stays home and she says, Kesha, you can go by yourself. Yeah. Then there doesn't have to be a public outburst about it. Some things are just common sense.
Yeah, no, I like that. Let's talk about the Trevor Noah effect in the comedy, in the South African comedy environment.
Yeah. I bumped into him a few weeks ago. I was playing golf somewhere.
In Joburg?
Yeah, in Joburg.
Okay.
In Joburg. I was playing golf. He was coming from playing pickleball or something. I didn't even know that sport. But
pickleball. In fact, it looks like a sport is about Baba Sharp.
So Pedal is bigger in South Africa, but pickleball is bigger in the world and huge in the States. So he plays pickleball. I didn't even know about it, but they do have a thing where you play it at this place.
Rich people.
Look, I play golf, and people say it's a rich people's sport, but it's actually so. Golf is very simple. You can buy brand new clubs that are very expensive, or you can buy second-hand clubs.
Okay.
You can buy brand new balls, or you can buy second-hand balls.
All right. I got the Trevor Noah effect and how you met him.
Anyway, obviously for Trevor, again, he chose to, this is my route, this is what I'm going to do. He moved to the States. He became a host on a U.S. television show. That's his choices. He wasn't here trying to do another black song. He did Nationwide a few years before he left, where then he took also a few comedians and he taught the country, right? But then again, he's doing his own thing. He's got his world tours that he's doing. He had his TV show. He's got his podcast. And that's what he chooses to do.
Yeah.
He's not trying to... Black Coffee, for instance, then now and then will bring a Fresh or Glenn to Ibiza. Or he'll take Euphonic with him. So that's their success, and that's how they choose to... how they choose to execute.
But how has it affected
for me,
our comedy industry in South Africa?
For me, people know about Trevor. It's again being famous. There are white people, Indian people, local people that know Trevor Noah that will go to his shows, but some of them don't even know me, and some of them don't even know that there's a Skumba who's filling up venues, and there's a Sfisonene who's selling out shows in South Africa. They don't know. Everybody's living their own lives in their own world. So it's not Trevor's thing was not a community thing of, hey, let's go see what other comedians there are in South Africa. He became a well-named, a well-brand, and that's what he's doing. He's touring the world. He's doing his own thing. But it's not like people start calling South Africa saying, hey, are there other comedians, or we want more comedians in South Africa?
What do you say to people who place a certain level or weight of responsibility upon those who made it, who come from South Africa, like you saying, hey Trevor, you can't go alone.
No, it's unrealistic.
Pull us, take us with.
Totally unrealistic.
You know that sense of responsibility that they put on you, so take us with.
Totally unrealistic. It makes no sense. The world does not work like that. Life does not work like that.
What did you talk about Trevor?
I put Trevor on his...
I know. So I'm curious. So
I was playing golf, right? So golf, you tee off, you hit your ball, and it goes to... Par threes are short, so you hit the ball, goes straight to the green, get in the cart, and then you drive to your ball. So I was coming off a cart, going to my ball. He was coming from playing pickleball. He came over with one or two friends, chat, catch up, HaaK, what you doing? Are you around? No, I'm going to Abu Dhabi. And then, okay, sharp. No, if you're around, let's get together. Okay, sharp. I went to continue playing golf. And then, it wasn't like a meeting, a deep discussion.
No, I get.
But we owe each other a catch up. We've always been saying, let's catch up. I think since the first roast of Comedy Central. Obviously, he's busy and we're all living our lives.
The final point. Before we came on set, you spoke, I've asked you that you're looking good, and you do. And
thank you.
I respect you so much, and with respect, and I hope it doesn't offend you or those that I'm going to mention, but these are people I look up to. Yourself, Stone, Siade,
Mahuta, DJ Mahuta.
DJ Mahuta, like Imagita, by they've been, but they epitomizes excellence, discipline, because now at this age, at 41, I realize how difficult it is to be at your age and your level and still, be disciplined, looking good, doing what you're doing. We spoke briefly about, and I said, you're looking so good. And you said, I'm blessed to have, to marry the right wife or the right person. How important is it for any person in the arts to partner with the right person as far as love, relationship is concerned?
So again, individual choices, right? There's successful people that are single, successful business people that are single.
Yeah.
So for me, my center. My center then became my structure at home. So I'll give you an example. If I've been married almost 18 years, September would be 20 years since I met my wife, right? Which I've just turned 47. So I was 27 when I met her.
Yeah.
And I'd been doing stand-up comedy for 7 years. I was David Kau.
I'm only famous already.
Driving this such and such
Yeah.
a car. And so my life was going a certain direction. Ne? Fame, nyana, money.
Yeah.
There'll be women. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't doing any drugs.
You're still not drinking.
But I drink red wine.
All right.
It's good for the heart, apparently. Now and then I drink red wine. Golf, there'll be shots. You know. And that's literally in the last 10 years I started sipping red wine.
Yeah.
Not like all the time. But there was the trajectory my life was going before I met my wife. Then I met my wife. Then I built a home. I was no longer building a house. Now we have a home that we are building. Then started having kids. So the difference, let me tell you the difference for me. I'll go to a gig. On my way back from the gig, excitement, I've made some money, I work. Where am I going? Take out the phone. Hey, Semex, uko guy boy. Or, hey, Ntabiseng or TD, where are you? Then I don't go back home. I go from a gig to something else.
Yeah.
Almost not important, or even that meaningful. The difference now is I go to work and I come back home. So less distractions in terms of what I want to do or what I'm doing in life. So then that structure of me, in my case, having found and be blessed with the right woman, that's what it did for me. It means you make 100,000, you come home with 100,000.
Yeah.
You make 10 rand, you come home with 10 rand. Whereby previously, I would have go out, I would make 20 rand. By the time I get home, it might be 13 rand, it might be 19 rand, it might be 6 rand. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
So structure, what you do with your resources, and also someone that says to you, hey, no, hey, maybe that's a bit too much. You don't really need that.
Yeah.
You understand? Just that voice that comes and says, but remember, we still have the other thing that we need to do. So you can't be there for too long, or you can't overspend on that thing, because there's still these people that we made that must still be taken care of and get 1, 2, 3. For me personally, that's what it did.
Yeah.
And then the blessing and the best thing about it is I can get on stage and talk about my life now with my wife, with my 3 kids. And that's giving me more material. So staying relevant, staying current is I can speak about today. I can speak about what I did today, what I did yesterday. I took my firstborn to the first derby, or his first derby, first stadium experience, blah, blah, blah.
Last week.
Yes. And we lost. The Kaizer Chiefs lost. So I can get on stage, can get on social media and talk about that experience.
Yeah.
So life happens and then starts going a certain way also.
Yeah.
That simple choice that I made. If I didn't beat my wife, I could be sick, I could be dead, I could be bankrupt, lost everything, but I was saved from that. Yeah.
Brother David Kau, it's a sheer joy talking to you, brother.
It's my pleasure, man.
I've learned a lot personally. I've enjoyed
Thank you. Thanks
deep
for
conversation. I didn't know I could sustain conversation like at the industry, but it's beautiful. I've enjoyed it.
It was a very insightful conversation, and good luck to you and congratulations. But take care of your audience and your customer.
Yeah.
Your customer is important.
Yeah.
I know they say the customer is always right. Even if you are looking at them and they are wrong, they must feel like they are right, but you educate and you teach them why in the first place they may be wrong, or why your person said they're wrong, and then they ask for the supervisor or the manager. So you take care of your audience and you say, listen, my word of the day is on my social media every day. So you've gained one more follower. And they know that they can always go to your social media to find out what is the word of the day. They don't have to be bumping into you at a funeral. For me, it's awkward. People ask for pictures at funerals. And I'm like, hey, maybe not now.
Yeah,
Maybe
later.
later. Let's wait for the casket to go down, at least.
David Kau, thank you for coming to the show, sir.
Sharp, sharp.
And we wish you all
My
the best
pleasure,
and the
man.
blessings.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want word of the day, watch this episode. At the beginning of this episode, that's your word of the day. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, HaaK Network. That's the only way we can bring you such high-level conversations when you do subscribe. We appreciate it. My name is HaaK. Kamako.